bring you guys our BBR Draft Analysis for Season 3 of the BBR. Now, if you guys remember last season, we ended up actually taking over for a team in the BBR, and I made a whole video mentioning that actually, which if I remember, I'll put an info card too, but I'm kind of rush recording this, so, and then also scheduling it, and I don't know if I'll remember to, but I'm going to try and remember to. Regardless though, we did cover that on this channel actually. So yeah, this season though, we're finally drafting our team in the BBR, and I feel pretty confident about this team, to be honest. I think it's a really solid draft for what was allowed. Make sure, if you guys do enjoy, of course, to leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, and check out all the coaches down below. And with that being said, let's just get right into it. So going with our first pick, of course, we had 5th pick overall, and there were 20 coaches this season. So I will say right off the bat that this season was definitely a bit different. Unlike last season where we had 1,200 points to work with 10 Pokemon, we only had 1,100 to work with for 11 Pokemon this season. So it's definitely a big change, especially when you're also cutting down, especially when you're cutting down the available Pokemon, I guess, in a sense. Because while obviously there are the new DLC mons, we're also adding in another 20 coaches. So there was probably like as many Pokemon added in, at least for viable Pokemon, as we got for new coaches. Like there was probably around like 40, 50 something for new viable mons, and then we also ended up getting like another 40, 50 draft picks worth of players. Actually no, we got more than that because we also then added in another 16, so it was like another 60-ish. So we obviously did add in a lot more coaches, so it doesn't really change, like, I guess, how viable teams are going to be, because it's not like with 16 coaches where every team should in theory be more viable even adding another Pokemon. So obviously, I mean, it does definitely hurt a bit budget wise when you're essentially doing that, especially when 20-man draft, more people are drafting, so viable stuff will go quicker. With that said though, we had 5th overall, and the first thing I saw looking at this board that immediately struck out to me, I actually didn't even notice it. Shout out to my boy Owen for DMing me. He DMs me right when the tiers are released, well, like probably a few minutes later, and he's like, can you believe that Koko is not even max points? And I was like, oh my god, Koko at 180 points. I mean, I get it doesn't have the new tutors, but that's still really insane. So I was like, you know what, if it gets to us pick 5, we're gonna get Tapu Koko. So we did our themes this season off of Love Live songs from all 3 franchises. Tapu Koko is going to be Pianoforte off of Pianoforte Monologue, which is Riko Sakurachi solo. That'll make more sense when we get into round 2 why I chose that. But Tapu Koko, while it did not get playoff or close combat, I still think is a phenomenal Pokemon. Right off the bat, Tapu Koko is probably one of the top 10 allows in my opinion for everything allowed in the whole league, let alone the 200 point tier, which obviously, as I said, Koko was only 180, so this was already a no-brainer option. While there was still a lot of stuff that I really wanted to try, like I really wanted to use Spec Chair in draft, at this point in the draft as well, there was a ton of mons, like Celesteela was obviously left. The only mons that had went beforehand were Lando and Torn, Therian, Dragapult, and Urshifu Single Strike. So there was stuff like Zeraora was still left, obviously, which is a phenomenal mon. Mew was still left, Garchomp was still left, Latios was still left. Obviously, the better Tapu Lele is still... No, I'm kidding. Lele is not better. Zygarde is still left. So there was a lot of Pokemon left that I really, really liked. However, Koko really stood out just by not being that max cost, and especially with how slim the budget felt, this was a really, really nice benefit to me, in my opinion. On top of it as well, it's really easy to draft around Koko for me. It's pretty much second nature. So it felt like as if I got sniped anywhere down the line, I would easily be able to pick this up, like patch up my team. And I felt like it wouldn't be a huge issue, especially in 20-man, where I felt like it would be a lot harder to draft a good team. I thought this was definitely a nice reassurance. Koko has really astronomically high speed, which, especially in this format, the more teams you have, the harder it is to get to high speed tier, especially in Galar X Wi-Fi. So that does definitely help a ton, having a 130 speed mon, and it's a really solid mixed Pokemon too. Even without player or close combat in its arsenal, it still does have options like Wild Charge and U-Turn, and Brave Bird too, with its solid special coverage with stuff like Gleam and Thunderbolt for stabs, obviously. Sword Power with a setup set can easily tear through checks, on top of also having stuff like Grass Knot for grounds. So this Pokemon is still a menace for sure. Easily, as I said, a top 10 Pokemon in the entire Wi-Fi format, let alone, honestly, I'd probably still say that in that decks, if not just bubbling out of top 10. So yeah, Koko is still a very dominant mon in my opinion, And especially with our next pick, I felt like this was even more so reassured. So my plan originally was to get this Pokemon plus Regieleki round 3. However, round 2, my sworn enemy Jorge took it after getting Alolan Eggy round 1. Don't know why. I'm pretty sure he randomized this pick. So I'm very, very tilted. I was very, very tilted by this. I did not think that this mon would have won it. I didn't think Regieleki would have won at all. I sort of just wanted to do it for the thumbnail. I figured I could title this video, "Oh my god, Regieleki is so broken in draft," or something of the sort. You know, I could have gotten like 300, 400 views on the video, and I would have been happy. However, Regieleki got taken round 2, so Jorge, enjoy your views. Enjoy your views. Better throw it in the thumbnail. We instead got round 2, Hawlucha. So as I mentioned, Hawlucha was the plan for the wheel anyway. I guess it wasn't really instead, but the round 3 was more so instead. This is going to be off of Unstable World for this Unstable World, or in this Unstable World, which is Yohane solo as the Yoha Rico core. I figured that made sense because I do all my Hawluchas Yohane normally, and obviously Rico and Yohane best ship in Sunshine, don't at me. We have Hawlucha though, of course. Hawlucha is a very terrifying mod, yet another fast pick on the team, so we already are building up a really solid fast team. Even without Unburden, this still hits 118, which is still phenomenal speed here to hit. A really solid 92 attack, at least in complementary to that 118 speed. It has decent bulk to it, especially when you pair this thing with like a seed, which obviously we have electric seed for Koko, though we could also take advantage of other terrain users and run other seeds if we wanted other bulk. This mon is definitely a menace in terms of just reverse sweeping teams really efficiently. This Pokemon ended up costing me a fair bit of points, to be fair. I mean, Hawlucha was 160, so that was a bit high, but that, in my opinion, does balance out for the 180 Koko. So I'll take it. It wasn't a huge deal. This thing does have a lot of options in its arsenal, stuff such as Taunt, for example, to set up on other really fat Pokemon, especially stuff with Haze. So that's obviously really nice. Also stops mons from recovering. We do also have options like Sword Dance and Bulk Up for setup. We have just nice U-turn if we really felt like pivoting around with this Pokemon. Acro is really cool, close combat and Drain Punch, really nice coverage with stuff like Thunder Punch. So we do have a lot of options in this arsenal. I do think the Hawlucha is definitely a really nice mon, especially the more coaches you add because the flimsier their checks get. And I think I did a really good job checking around Fat Psychics. I think if anything, this team was definitely built more around Hawlucha than Koko. Well, actually, it's kind of debatable. I think that the next pick will really sell that it was a Koko team, but I do still think that this was a really solid pick for round 2. Next up in the round 3, this is the mon I was going to originally bank on round 4, but again, I just bumped it up because Alecki went, and I did not have time to think through for a replacement, and Ferrothorn had also went at this point in the draft, so I couldn't even get that early on. We ended up getting Pelipper. So Pelipper is going to be Neo Sky, Neo Map off of the new ED from Nijikasaki anime. I figured that fit really well because it's like an umbrella sort of theme for the animation for the ending, and you know it's like a rainy day, and Pelipper's a rain setter, so I felt like it fit really well. I'm hoping that someone else notices that or like gets what I was going for there. But regardless, though, Pelipper is a really solid rain setter. Koko Rain is really dumb, and I think that while I normally hate drafting weather, unless it's drill, I do think that Koko Rain actually fit really well, especially when you take in the fact that Koja's checks in general of rain are going to be flimsier. To put it in perspective, week 1 I probably played the most anti-rain team in the entire league, and even then I feel pretty certain that I'm going to be able to get around the rain checks within a few turns, if not just they're not going to be bothers at all. So I do think that rain in general is going to just be really dumb, while the team will be very predictable, and you'll see that as the draft goes on, it's going to be very predictable. The 140 point Pelipper I think is going to be really nice to the team in general. It's a really slow mon, gives us another defogger, which we have 3 already, but this is the first really reliable one. More momentum, of course, and this is an actual reliable option unlike Hawlucha. So Koko Pelipper can easily pivot around teams pretty efficiently, and again, Hawlucha can if I need to, however it probably won't. Really nice defensive option, especially in tandem with other options on the team. I think this will be a really solid addition to our draft, and it's going to be a really good support option in my opinion. Next up, we have Water Blue New World, our Kingdra. I mostly went with this name for Kingdra, to be honest, just because of the fact that I didn't want to redo my Kingdra sprite because it was way too nice. So it'll be WBNW for Water Blue New World. Really, really solid Rain Sweeper, of course. Kingdra is the best Rain Sweeper in the format. having really solid physical and special offense at 95, which in tandem with choice items or life orb, or even just with its ability sniper going for crits, this is a pretty deadly mon to fight. Has a really respectable 85 speed stat, which even outside of rain is really nice in this team actually. It's a really solid middle speed tier, which is going to be really good at pressuring a lot of fat teams. Kingdra's typing as well breaks through teams pretty efficiently, not a lot really switches into that, so this is definitely a mon that teams will need to really prepare for in my opinion. So yeah, I think that this mon in general will be really damning to a lot of opponents. As I said already, I prepped for my week 1 game, and I feel pretty certain that my opponent's rain checks are going to be gone within a few turns, which says a lot because, as I said, I played the most anti-rain team ever, let alone in the league week 1. So I feel pretty confident that this mon is going to absolutely tear through teams. It was only like, I think it was 140 points I want to say, which isn't bad for Kingdra, especially just with Kingdra in general. It works especially well with Rain though. So yeah, that's why we ended up getting Kingdra here. I think it'll prove to be a really annoying mon for pretty much everyone. So yeah, next up, round 5, we got ourselves Mesprit. This is going to be Crash Mind, of course, because it's a Psychic type, and I felt like this is a really easy mon to just do off the Saint Snow colors. As you can see, this one is off of Sarah Cosno, and we have another option off of Leia, which I'll go into later on. So we have Mesprit here. In my opinion, this is a very necessary pick to pick right now, actually. This gives us another ground immunity, of course, which while we have obviously the Hawlucha and the Pelipper. Neither really want to switch it on like Edgequake options, actually, because Hawlucha is just a really frail mon. So while it can obviously take a hit, I'm not going to use that as my ground check. And Pelipper can definitely get taken advantage of by stray stone edges. So I do have Mesprit, obviously, which is a really solid switch in, again, in tandem with these. And it also leaves Pelipper to be more of a utility-based mon, and I can use Mesprit for the actual switching. This is our first Rock Setter on the team, which is really nice. Gives us more momentum, which we have. All of our team can actually pivot right now. Hawlucha probably won't, but we do have it as an option, of course. So that's obviously really nice to make sure we're never going to get trapped in by anything. Mesprit as well, just a really nice utility option, gives us stuff like knockoff. I believe it gets Thunder Wave as well, I can't remember off my hand. It gets some decent coverage too, actually, for a Psychic type. It gets some really nice physical options too, which is really awesome, to be honest. This mon could definitely be a solid mixed option. While it lacks Sword Stance like its counterpart Azelf, I do still think it was very worth it for this pick. It was a really cheap Psychic too, actually. I believe this thing only cost me like 100 points or something. If it was not 100, it was like 120, which either way, actually it might have even been cheaper than that. Yeah, it was 100 points on the dot. So I think it was really worth it, especially when we need to start budgeting at this point in the draft. So yeah, I feel really confident this Pokemon will definitely start taking names for us. It seems like I actually got this round 4, and I mixed up the Kingdra and Mesprit pick. So I'm sorry about that, of course, to anyone who's going to be extremely disappointed by that. I know I've really failed all of you guys with that fuck up, but sorry. Next up, in round 6, we have Volcarona, because I decided points didn't matter at this point in the draft. I followed after my heart, and my good pal Perfecte Blue, the BBL Season 1 winner, and BBL Season 1 winner Perfecte Blue has only won one BBL season, and it was the season that he basically did what I'm doing, and said points don't matter, I need just 6 Pokemon, and 6 Pokemon will win me the league. So, that's what we did. This is where it really shows just how much an extra 100 points will have mattered, and you'll see as we go on with the next 5 picks how much of a difference that would have made. So yeah, Volcarona. What does Volcarona do? Well, for one, Volcarona is a phenomenal grass check. As you can see, I do have 2 flying types. However, I did still want another grass check so that I don't need to necessarily always throw Hurricane on my Kingdra, or Ice Beam on my Mesprit, or Brave Bird on my Koko. So we have Volcarona. Phenomenal grass switching. I can use this easily as well as a base 100 mon. Really nice for the speed tier on my team, of course. We have obviously a 4 times rock weakness, which is not the best, but we do have some solid defog options, of course. And that's going to be really helpful for this Pokemon, though boots basically make this thing a broken piece of shit. Volcarona never really needed an item. It was such a not item needed mon that you were able to always just run Z on it just because, and it didn't even really need it to break either. So having the heavy duty boots is basically a godsend against hazards for this Pokemon. And on top of that, it's able to just destroy teams at +1 really easily. And it's also really easily able to set up to +1. With the typing plus its natural bulk, it's surprisingly easy to set up versus any sort of special attacker. And it outpaces a decent amount of the metagame in this format as well. So you don't even need to worry about a lot of Scarfers. There's not many that can actually beat this Pokemon, let alone in the Wi-Fi format. So this Pokemon is definitely a menace, especially when I do have 2 screen setters already, and I think I pick up another later on, but I genuinely couldn't remember if anything else on my team got screens, but I do at least have 2 screen setters so far, being Koko and Mesprit. This Pokemon is going to be a nightmare for teams to play against. In my opinion, these 6 alone make up the main portion of the team, and nothing else really matters. Well, our next pick kind of matters, to be honest. It's actually a pretty viable mon for how cheap it was. But yeah, we do still have some viable picks coming up. Not to say that the rest of the team is never coming. I think that everything on the team could actually come, surprisingly enough, and you'll see why as we go down. But these are the main 6. This is going to be Firebird because I just thought it fit really well because it's a fire type and it flies and that's it. The colors were really pretty. So like, I didn't want to make it something else. So yeah, Firebird. Next up, we have Evergreen, our Ferroseed. I'm reusing the Ferroseed sprite, of course, from NCP, but it fit. It fit for Evergreen, so we're doing it. This is another very viable mon, and for only 60 points, this was actually a really solid budget grass, and it also didn't make me any more weak to, it gave me a nice steel type as well, which didn't make me any more weak to just general grass stuff, which was nice against, actually, I didn't really have a grass weakness now, I'm saying it out loud. Regardless though, Ferroseed does benefit a ton from the rain, of course, having its fire weakness slightly mitigated by that. On top of the fact as well that we have really solid fighting checks in Mesprit, Volcarona, obviously Koko, Hawlucha, and Pelipper. So we have really solid ways around fighting types as well. So Ferroseed is going to be very, very patched on this team. Really solid hazard option because we only have Mesprit so far. We do get another hazard mon later on actually, so that'll benefit even more of course. Ferroseed's natural bulk within a Violite is a very, very menacing Pokemon to take care of. This Pokemon is a great water switch for us. Obviously, we have Pelipper as well. However, this is another backup option. And I guess Kingdra can resist water types, but it's not a switch-in. So we do have a lot of options here. This is our first mon on the team that doesn't actually get momentum, so very, very sad. Most of our next Pokemon actually don't get momentum, to be honest, but the top 6, again, really mitigate that being an issue. So yeah, Ferroseed, I think, will be a really nice mon on this team. There's not a lot to say about it. It is a Ferroseed after all. So yeah, next up, another 60-point mon. We have Golurk. I didn't have a ground type yet. I wanted one for opposing mons so they can't just spam Thunder versus me or Rising Voltage because I have a Koko. So we have Golurk. Really solid Ghost, really solid really solid Ground. A really nice Rocker, gives us a nice low speed option. We have an actual Trick Room breaker now, which Mesprit can set Trick Room, so that's actually really not bad for us. We do get another one next round actually. So yeah, I think this mon can be kind of cool. Golurk's actually a fun mon. I really enjoy using it. So I was shocked to see it still go in this sort of format where the grounds were actually going really early. So I'm kind of glad this mon made it, to be honest. I think it fits our team so well. And it also gives us another physically defensive option, which in tandem with our round 10 pick, I think actually this kind of forms a really not awful wall core. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Round 9, we get Zweilous. You could ask me why this mon went round 11. These next 3 picks, really, no one was sniping any of them. My round 10, I thought maybe someone could have sniped, but I got this first just because I needed a dark type, and it was 20 points. It was literally 20 points. So I got it because I needed a dark type. There's not a lot to say about Zweilous. Golurk is going to be Dancing Stars, by the way, I forgot to mention that, and this is going to be Believe Again. This is our other Saint Snow themed mon. This is off of Leia's color scheme. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this mon. It's a fun dark type. I'm going to try and bring it. I think it actually has merit on our team for breaking Psychics really well for Hawlucha. We'll see what happens. Round 10, we get Munchlax. This is Oyasumi-san. The color scheme's off of Hanamaru. This was also 20 points. No one was taking it at this point in the draft. It's a really, really nice normal type. I'm actually shocked this was 20 points, to be honest. It probably could have been 40 with just how the BBR tiered stuff. A really solid spin-up option. I think in tandem with Golurk, this will actually be a really annoying, like, budget wall core, which is a lot, I guess. But realistically, I don't think either mods are coming to more than 2 or 3 games when the top 6 can just come to literally every week. So yeah, finally, we got ourselves another Rain Sweeper. This is going to be Miracle Wave, our Golduck, off of course, the Miracle Wave outfits. In general, this mon is a pretty okay mon for 40 points. It was just there for rain. There's not a lot to say about Golduck. It's just here. I think it'll be cool. I'm going to try and bring it to a couple games. Shout out to my boy Super Sooner Arashi, aka edited his name to Arashi and just changed his brand to that. But yeah, Arashi. In general, though, great guy. I know he loves Golduck. If Arashi is for some reason watching this, I'm pretty sure Arashi stopped playing mods. But if he is for some reason watching this, of course, hi Arashi, I got it for you. In general, though, it was either this or Seaking, and I figured at least Golduck was, like, faster, I guess. I don't know. There really wasn't I'm not going to bring this mod to any more games than like 2 or 3. But yeah, we have Miracle Wave the Golduck. I'm going to try and sweep someone with it. I think it'd be really funny. I mean, I tried sweeping someone with Blossom this week in UBL, so anything is possible, kids. If you guys did enjoy this, leave a like down below, comment, subscribe if you're new. I think we personally have one of the better drafts in the league, surprisingly enough. I know you guys can obviously see this is a really budget team, but I do think we still at least have a top 5 team, in my opinion, if not like a top 3 team or even better. I could honestly see the argument for even putting us at the top spot overall, but that gets into really like tooting my own horn at that point. I do think we have at least a top 5 draft, though, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts, though. I'd love to hear them down below. Week 1, we're going to take on JB Westside yet again, as we are in tomorrow's NCP upload. So we'll see what happens. Peace out, guys.